I just spilled. Oh no. I feel like it's not a third base episode if I don't spill something on myself. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Third Base podcast. My name's Gary, and welcome, I guess, to like the Gary Zone is what you would call it. This is welcome to the Gary Power Hour. Now I know what you're thinking, Gary. Why isn't everyone here? Well, to answer your question, I'm going to defend one person, and that's Monkey Man. Monkey Man asked maybe an hour ago whether or not we're going to record the podcast. Here, I can even pull it up for you. Hold up. So, yeah, basically, everyone didn't respond because they were either busy or they just didn't want to. I'm more reaching towards the latter. But Monkey Man was the person who was actually trying to get everyone in here and, like, actually get, like, somewhat active. But I think we all just kind of ignored him because we don't respect him enough. I don't understand where this is coming from. This is kind of hurting everyone, including me, and like my support to like defend him. So yeah, he said, are we recording something? This is like an hour ago, by the way. Well, not an hour, like maybe 30 minutes. He's like, are we recording something? And he added everyone, and he didn't do shit. So I think he might have just gotten offline and went to sleep. I said, look at this dude, like maybe 30 minutes after he posted it. And now we are here. And we are going to be recording this entire episode with just me, the greatest member alive. Now, I want to preface this. The reason I'm like pushing for this power hour is mainly just because I am going to Vegas on Saturday, so I won't be here to record jack shit. And the person who uploads everything on the YouTube and the Spotify now, we got a Spotify, is me. I'm the one who gets the red bubble up, or get the red circle up. I'm the one who has to go into the art. Dude, it's uploading audio is a lot of work. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to upload a podcast on Spotify. It's difficult. It's really difficult. It's really hard. Basically, you have to do it not through just Spotify itself, but through, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a RCC or RVC something link. All right, let me actually Google this. Dude, I swear to God, I have like everything at my fingertips now, and I feel more free because I get to record. I'm like doing my own recording. I'm also like, I can Google everything. RVC link, podcast. Let's see what it says. It's not that. Podcast. I'm trying to find. Okay. Red. I could just go into my red circle. There we go. I know I have it. I can just log in, I'm pretty sure. No, it won't let me. Okay. Luckily, I have it saved. Let me see what it's called. Pod settings. No, maybe it's on the other one. No. Distribution. Is it distribution? Like, where can I find? I'm trying to find the trying to find the link. Oh, the RSS feed is what it's called. So you have to get a third party person, like a third party website that has the RSS feed. Basically, you copy link from the RSS feed. You have to go into a different like link. So it's called like Spotify for podcasters. You have to log in with your Spotify account, or if you have, or you can just make a podcaster's account. You then have to find your RSS feed, which should always be on the front page of like whatever third-party distribution site you're using. For me, we're using Red Circle, and we are basically everything, the images, the borders, basically everything that's used to kind of upload it is from Red Circle. And since I'm too lazy to record both audio and video, I have to take the video and basically then convert it to MP4 or to MP3 and then upload it via the RSS feed or redcircle.com. Great website, by the way. If I were to recommend anyone who wants to start a podcast and wants like really good quality upload, I would go to Red Circle. It's free. They have a free plan the moment you get out there. You can get analytics and stuff if you want to upgrade your if you want to upgrade the subscription that you have, you can do that. It's really good. I always recommend it because it is such a good website. Now, enough about how I do it. Let's talk about more so what's been going on, because a lot of stuff to explain. First of all, lack of uploads. I haven't uploaded in a month. And the reason for that is because I've been, one, really lazy. That's literally the main reason. I just haven't found anything to kind of make. I haven't had any inspiration to like do anything, and it's kind of just, it's taken me out of like the loop of YouTube itself. So it's a little hard. I have to figure this out on my own. Actually, since I'm by myself, I can finally monitor myself. Number two, I've been busy. I have had a bunch of work, actual like schoolwork. I've had work. I'm getting ready for finals right now. I finished 2 finals, boys, and that's kind of a lull. That's kind of a I was gonna say that's a lull W, but that's a poggers, guys. We finished 2 out of the 4 that we need to do. I'm probably gonna do another final tomorrow, and then we'll have. What the fuck? I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know what that was, but we have, after we finish a final tomorrow, we have one more final on Monday. And look, I'm not going to say like one of my finals was terrible, but it's kind of out of my control. I'm not the editor of one. As you guys know, I'm a film major, and one of our finals, we basically just had to take a script and make it how we wanted to. And I was the editor for our last project, which got a high B because I was under a time constraint, which I can't really fix. But this one, the editor that we had to assign because we had to get different roles, he has a fucking week, and instead of trying to go back and fix it, he did it. Like, I was there with him, like we did all this stuff. The teacher was like, "You got to fix things." He didn't do it, but if he liked it, he liked it. I'm not going to be the one to tell him no. Because there are some parts I kind of agree with from the teacher's criticism. I guess it's more so just a fact of he wants to get this over, which I'm totally with. He's kind of chill, though. And the other one is a audio engineering class. So it was just like doing audio engineering a movie, which wasn't that hard. It took me like 4 hours. Which, it sounds like a lot, but in terms of audio engineering, it wasn't audio engineering a full movie. It was audio engineering a full minute of a clip, like a minute clip movie from a movie. Which, a minute it takes a lot. But I think it's kind of it's more of like a drastic measure type of thing, because it took like out a lot of like the stuff you'd get from the movies. Because most post-production engineering comes from like the idea that there's sound that is unusable and that they need to replace. But I think this is kind of like a very drastic measure where it's like literally just messing with the program itself and basically putting everything together. It wasn't hard. I didn't think I'd like, if I were to rate my work, it was probably like a 90, maybe an 85. I don't think it was a fucking A+. But luckily for me, I have her again on Tuesday, so if there's anything that needs to be fixed, I can just fix that final up real easy. I think I'm like mostly done, but it's just like touch-ups that I think I need to do. Again, if I had like the resources, if I had like unlimited resources for that thing, I would basically have been done already. But she gave us like really crappy. I don't want to say crappy. I don't want to be disrespectful. She gave us like very basic sound effects, like a sound effects folder. She gave us really basic ones, so like very tacky gunshots, very tacky audio. I would have used something better for audio, but I don't know if she'll like be like, you can't, it can't be copyright, because it's just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do to make it sound cooler? Use a fucking. So I had to use non-copyrighted music, which I did the best with what I had. I don't think it's good. I really don't. I think it can 100% be better if I had more materials at my disposal, but with what I did, I think I did really well. I could have done Foley, but I'm not I don't want to be a fucking Foley artist, all right? Foley's cool. I think the idea of Foley artists and Foley production is like really sick. Working with microphones to create elements of a scene that can be replicated through a fucking like object, which is crazy, by the way. Okay, sorry, I got a text from my mother. As you can also tell, I'm kind of stuffy, which will only get worse, even though I'm going to fucking Vegas in 2 fucking days. So that'll be fun. And of course, I mean, and I think the third reason for me is just not having the time is, look behind me. It's Christmas. Christmas is coming up faster than I thought. And the one thing I was never told about Christmas is how much time you have to do. I barely finished Christmas shopping. I still have to buy my brother something. I have to buy him a gift card. And and I have to wrap presents. And I haven't even gotten started on anything. By next week, after I even finish school, the next thing I have to do is finish gift wrapping. You have to finish gift wrapping, and then like I only get a week off before I have to do online classes, which will be easy. I'm like making it sound like more than it actually is. But yeah, hopefully after next week, I should start like getting in the groove of actually uploading, especially with these podcasts, because I think also the podmates have their stuff off. They better do. I think they do. I hope they do. Next week will probably be like the last big hiatus for a lot of the podmates before then Christmas break hits, and then everyone's like, well, not for James. James is on a different level. He's just like either doing something with his friends or just doing work at school. I can't really get mad at him for having a personal life. Same with AJ. Same with Monkey Man. But yeah. And I think another thing about doing this podcast that I've been taught is, if you're going to do it, have stories. I feel like when I first started doing the podcast, a lot of the stories that we were telling were kind of like boring, and I'm not going to lie, we were kind of banking off of AJ to have interesting stories, because that dude travels around more with his improv group than we do. Like his theater group, because I think he goes to a private school. They get to go to New York and go see a musical in real life, which is, I mean, it's cool. That's pretty cool. And he gets stories not even from New York. He gets stories in his school that's kind of dramatic and stuff. But for me, I now have work. I also have school and everything. But if I were to tell a story, it's either boring or too real. It's either too real to tell because it's probably either still ongoing, or just something I don't want another party to have to deal with if they actually ever do get this. Or it's just too boring. I guess the only kind of interesting one was when I got robbed, because that one was cool. Because fuck those people. No one talks about the guy that decides to go to a grocery outlet and rob it. I was walking with my friend the other day in the dollar store, and they were like, who's dumb enough to rob the dollar store? And I'm like, I can think of a couple people. Anyone that walks in there will just literally steal a drink and walk out. And what are they going to do? They don't get paid enough to stop you from stealing $2 worth of merchandise. That's why I think the best stores to rob are usually the bargain stores. I think it's as stupid as it sounds. A lot of people who go to grocery outlets or outlets in general are either too, and this is going to sound like me flexing middle class privilege, but either too poor to actually afford anything, and just kind of just lazily are walking around because they're probably going to steal something, or too rich that to the point where they're more stingy about their money, so they'll just have really nice cars but go to the outlets for some reason. Which, if you're rich, you're rich, dude. You have fuck you money at that point. If you're in a 2023 Lamborghini Veneno, or not Veneno, probably a Strada, go to Melrose or something. Don't go to a fucking outlet mall. What are you doing here? Even if you're driving a Porsche, you should not be here. You should be like you should be over there in Hollywood and shopping there, because we don't want you here, because someone's going to either break into your car and steal it or break into your car and steal what's in it. I don't know what to tell you. Dude, driving a fancy car is like a big sign, like you waving a big sign and it just says, "I'm over here, come steal my shit." Because it's stupid. Because at the end of the day, every car, when it comes to like how it's built, is kind of just the same, besides the engine and transmission and everything inside the car. It's still metal, it's still glass. Anyone can break into it if they had the time and wanted to do it. It's just crazy that you choose to shop at such a low, like such a dangerous area to have that kind of vehicle or have that kind of cash. Luckily, the people at the grocery store, some of the rich people do lose their wallets, but for some reason, there are some people kind enough to pick up a $5,000 Louis Vuitton wallet and return it. This is a real thing that happened. This was probably like a month and a half ago. Some rich old guy dropped his wallet, I think like 3-4 days before I had my shift. I came in to work and the guy's like, "Hey, I dropped my wallet like a couple days ago." And I'm sitting here thinking like, "What kind of wallet did you have?" And he said a Louis Vuitton wallet. Like it was like a plaid wallet. And I'm like, it's probably gone. So I radio it. I'm like, "Is there a lost wallet here?" And they're like, "What kind of wallet is it?" And I say, "Louis Vuitton." And surprisingly enough, they had it, which I was shocked. And then he gave someone he gave me like $50 of a tip because I radioed it in, which is nuts. I think one of my like older like coworkers, she's been there since like the beginning of that store. She ended up getting, I think, like $300 of a tip because like she found another like similar wallet, which is nuts, by the way. Look, if you're gonna tip a grocery outlet like an employee, we appreciate it, and not because like you're giving us money, but because you're allowing us to hit our quota for our tills. So and this is for all you future workers of America that are gonna work retail. Sometimes when you are working a cash register, you never want to be under or over. You kind of want to be in like a sweet spot in the middle, kind of like on the dot. If you're over like maybe 25 cents, that's like a good day for you, because that means someone like left you change because they were like, keep the penny or keep the change. For me, I would either be under maybe a couple cents or over like $3. And I'm happy to say that me being over is more frequent than me being under, which is actually good, because back then, back in 3 months ago, I was probably always under like maybe $1.50. But now I'm like either over like $3 or under maybe like 2 cents. Yesterday I was like under $1, which was like the first time in a while that's happened to me. And of course, their manager was like, "It's fine. It's not a big deal. At least I didn't rip a 20. So yeah, that ended up happening. Someone ended up ripping a fucking 20, which is crazy because the 20 wasn't even ripped. She ripped it on herself, which is so stupid. I don't know how you do that. But yeah, working at a grocery store is interesting. There's a lot of like workplace drama. I don't want to say it's like office level drama, like the office level drama, but it's like, it's up there. It's like, it's real. Drama is real. There's a boss, when the store got robbed, the boss who left, she resigned like maybe last week. She was the one that told me to get in front of the door when the guy was robbing, and I didn't want to get written up because she is like so used to writing people up. I got scared, so I was like, okay, I'll hold the door, but I won't really try to hold the door, because if they just like break it down. I held it with like one hand like this. It took some big dude to hit it to at least open it, which is crazy. Because I didn't know I was that strong, because it was just like adrenaline pumping, and all of my strength was being held with like 5 fingers, and it did something. But again, it didn't do enough for like me to hold it. And later, and this was like the first time I got robbed, so I didn't even know what the fuck. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was about to just like stay next to Alyssa and let it happen. And then she was like, "Get next to the door." And I'm like, oh, "Dude, I'm not gonna fucking close. I'm not gonna lock the door too." Like she was like, at first she was like, "Lock the door," and then she was like, "Actually, stand by the door," which is just like, don't lock the door, because they'll threaten violence if you do, or they'll do the same thing and just break the door down and make it worse. The best thing to do in a situation where your store is getting robbed, but like not like cash robbed, more just merchandise robbed, is to let it happen. You're insured. Your store's insured. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to hurt the business, which, again, it's an outlet store, so it's not that much, but it's still enough to hurt them. I think if you're just down on your luck, get a job. Look, I know that's probably like the cringiest thing to say, get a job. If you don't have a high school degree or anything, go to an unemployment office, settle for unemployment, and they'll find you a job, or volunteer and get your credentials up. It's not the hardest thing to do. If you need to apply online on Indeed, go to fucking go to a library and do it. It's not going to kill you to like at least try. If you try, you'll at least have a bit of time left in your life to make some money and get off your feet. Hell, you can even get an apartment. Dude, I found out that because when she left, they're like, dude, she was making like $20 an hour, which for a manager, it's like minimum wage. It's still minimum wage work, because like the people at In-N-Out who just take your fucking order, I don't know, why did I just censor fuck? The people that take your fucking order, those guys get paid $19 an hour. So the manager was getting paid $1 more. But what I will say about In-N-Out is it's a very hectic place. A lot of people talk about the pay and everything about it, and they're like, yeah, it's cool. You get a uniform, you get really high pay. It's really cool, but they don't tell you about the actual atmosphere of working there. The reason why a lot of them get paid so much is because of the fact that it's a hectic workplace environment. You're scrambling to get orders in. It's In-N-Out, so it's a big chain. It's a very popular chain in the West Coast. And it's basically just, it's just rise and grind with them. I heard a story from my mom. She has her job has like white collar and blue collar workers, and the blue collar workers were getting paid like minimum wage, like $15 an hour, which at that company, which is like a mechanical company, they have to test all the products to make sure it works, and it's very dangerous. And for a blue collar, that's not a lot of money to sustain yourself. And apparently one of the people that worked at the testing factory, they ended up having to like sell their house because they couldn't afford to live in it anymore. And they had to move into an apartment. And so what ended up happening is a bunch of those people ended up leaving the factory and boycotting until they got equal pay. And now they're getting paid as much as In-N-Out workers, which, even though it sounds still as just as bad, it was a bigger step than getting paid $4 under what you think you should be worth. It's great that there are people that are willing to drop that money, but there's some like bosses that are just terrible at their job. Especially the girl that got fired or resigned at my job. A lot of people thought that she was going to lose her manager role prior to her resigning, which is why a lot of people said at my job that the reason she resigned, even though she said it was like because there was like a comfier job, a lot of people called BS and said like she just wanted to leave because she was going to lose like her managerial role, which, I mean, if it is because she got like a better job, good for her. I hope she's doing bigger and better things. But I didn't really like her that much. I mean, I could take it or leave it if she stayed or not. I'm willing to work with anyone, but I mean, it just depends on whether or not I respect you as a human being, or as a person, or as a boss. Because you're probably a nice person. Like, she was probably a nice person as like a human being, but God, she was a bad boss. She didn't do anything. She wasn't hands on like any other boss that I've had. Even some of like the temporary bosses who would like come in there, because at grocery outlet, I'm gonna blow your mind for all you like tweens, for all you teenagers. Grocery outlets are privately owned. The company that runs it is like a bigger, what do you call it? Trademark, I guess. It's literally just a trademark. Like, the company is an entire trademark, and the people that run it are separate. So it's just why a lot of people that come in at like, there's like different grocery outlets that have different close times, and that's not on purpose. That's not because like, they can't afford rent or anything. It's just well, it is kind of because of that, but it's also because sometimes grocery outlets just want to close on that day because they don't want to actually work until 10. That's why some grocery outlets where I'm near close at like 10, and then the one I work at closes at like 9. And so I end up leaving at like 9:30. Some close at 9:30, and they probably end up leaving until like 10, or they probably end up staying until 10. Some close at 10 and stay until 10:30. I could never do that. That's crazy. But it's just a matter of whether or not they want to keep working there. It's a matter basically whether or not they can afford to keep the doors open. For Jen and Bash, who are basically my managers, I'll drop them because they're a big CEO company. It's literally, they're basically under a different CEO company, and it's just literally their last names. So, if anything, it's just more promotion for them. Yeah, they're basically just like, they're running the show, and they're the ones running the show, and grocery outlets are like the ones that supply the deals. They basically supply any of the chains that they can work with. Sometimes they'll even reach out to their own chains if some of the coworkers, because the way I'm like digging deep into this into the realm of retail outlet working. Basically, the way a lot of products get onto the grocery outlet, because if you've ever been into a grocery outlet, you never get the same thing that's in there. So one day someone will look for yogurt of like a vanilla yogurt. Sometimes we don't have the brand anymore on the next week. So you either get it now, or you just have to wait maybe like 3 months until we get the same brand back in. But we just order like whatever basically the person who's running the section wants. So it's split into like a couple sections. I think the managers basically get like the overall grocery section, which is basically like the aisles, and there's like 2 different sections that we have. One's like HBC and like goods, which is what one person actually runs, and then the frozen section, which is what another person runs, and then a deli section in like the back, which another person runs. And basically they order products that they want, and then they'll like just stock it and price it and basically do all this stuff. Basically just get everything that they need from a truck. It all comes from like it all comes from the company that they order. It's basically most of the products are overstock, so we get the leftovers. Basically, is what happens. It's the same thing with like Ross or like Burlington. It's just like the reason why a lot of it's cheap is because it's overstock. The reason why sometimes if you go on Amazon you want a shoe, and sometimes even though the shoe can be like $90 on some like colors, for some reason there'll be like this one color that's $40 for some reason, because most likely it was overstocked. Overstock is, and basically it's just like supply and demand. There's too much of something, and there's not a big demand of it, so that something comes down in price, and basically it allows the outlets to grab it and wholesale and sell it. That's why a lot of people at Ross or Burlington will basically buy a lot of like leftover Nike gear or Adidas or Carhartt or whatever, because they just have a lot of it, and they'll get it for a better price. Hell, even some of Walmart products. Like, I went today and some of the earbuds were like $80. Like my old earbuds, my Rail XTs, they were like $50 now, and they were $80, which is nuts. So you get like an $80 product for $50. Ain't that something, eh? Yeah, it's crazy though. And I think that's also just because, like, holiday deals or something. And I think that's just cool. All right. Just had to clap sync that bitch. And not even a clap sync. It's just like, just to make sure it's peaking so they know where to cut. Actually, while I'm on the subject of clap syncing, I talked about a bit about the ins and outs of the retail outlet industry. I could talk about some of the stuff we do in film, or better yet, media, because I have actually some experience in that. When it comes to media, it depends, because for me, I run we do a city college production, which is basically like we prepare and shoot on the day of the actual thing. So we do football. So I do football things on my media production class, which is cool. Uh, I kind of want to, how would I say? I want to run sort of like a similar idea of that. Like that's what would want to be my future job, is basically running events. So stuff like college football, to being like a cameraman, uh, basically running that kind of tech. Doing sound, doing engineering, and all that stuff. That'd be cool. Something cool to do. And usually on the day of shooting, because for us it'd probably already be set up. But to be honest, for a lot of bigger productions, it'd probably take like a week to set up, because you have to get the field ready, you have to know where to shoot it, you have to pick the shots that you want to shoot, and that's kind of already determined. That's kind of like the first day of shooting and like the production, and basically they don't have to really do anything after that. So like the first like football game will probably be the longest day of like production setup, because you don't know really where to shoot. Because the cool thing about production is a lot of news networks like CBS, who like do college games, they often kind of change like what college they shoot at. Sometimes it'll be a Big Ten college, sometimes it'll be a CES college or SEC college, sometimes it'll be a D2 college, sometimes it'll even be a community college, or like I don't know what the lower version of college football is, but they'll sometimes switch. And I think CBS is doing that. I think they just finished shooting, I think, for the Big Ten, or no, SEC, with Michigan in them. I think they're going to go to a different college production. I think they're going to shoot there. I don't know who's going to take over that, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think that's cool. Another thing I find really cool about production is you're kind of like in charge of your own section, because the director can only do so much. The only thing the director does in media production with all the football stuff, again, I'm pulling football because it's the one I have the most experience on. All they do is basically like tell you, okay, we need to do this, I want this here, here, and here. Everything, the whole setup though, is like on the person. So the cameramen have to set up their own cameras, their own tripods, everything. Sound guys have to shoot the boom mic, the stadium mic, the boom mic in the stadium. They have to get the announcers ready. They have to connect all the cables, send the snake down, send all those wires down, and then plug them into the big ass tower that they have. They basically plug all that those cables into that tower. Basically, make sure it runs on the switcher board. Make sure they level out the audio, all that shit. And with my camera guys, it's a lot easier, because it's like plug the camera in, plug the either the Triax or whatever the 4K version of the Triax is. Then send the Triax down into the studio room. Then they plug that into the tower. Oh, and then you have to get your headset on, or as they call it in the industry, a muff. A one muff is basically headphones with one muff, or two muff, which is two muffs. That's cool. It's so for all you film nerds or production nerds, that's basically how it's explained. Basically, that's just more for just to get like anything from the director. Basically, all this is just telling you whose camera it's on. So the director in your ear will be like, camera run, ready, take, and then they'll switch camera 2, take, camera 3, take, and then they'll be like, okay, camera 1, you're gonna get a close-in shot, and then camera 2 is gonna get the play. And that's basically what it means by getting the play. Is you're going out wide. You're getting like not even a 2-shot, it's more like just a wide shot of the play. And it's harder because cameramen can't see the graphics. So you're going to have to like think, okay, so the text is going to be a lower third, and it's probably like this big, so I have to kind of like adjust it to where it can see the entire field, but also the lower third and the time on top, and make it look good. So you're thinking of like 3 different things as a cameraman. It's also hard to be a cameraman, especially a field cam. The amount of respect I have for field cameramen is through the roof, dude. I did the field cam one game, and it's like an over-the-shoulder cam. And, you think it would hurt your shoulders. It actually does. It kind of does. But the thing that it hurts most is your back. Because the thing is, think about it like this. All right, you're a field camera guy, and you're holding a cam, but you have to arch in a way that is straight. It's looking straight, and when you have your back aligned, like in a straight line, it's tilting 45 degrees. So you have to kind of arch your back, like you have to angle it this way to kind of get a straight shot, and that's hurting the alignment of your back. That's why a lot of people prefer the Steadicam, which it's a lot easier on your back, but it's still gonna like do some damage. Like some professional Steady cameramen can hold it for an hour. Luckily, with football games, it's like you have to just do it for 30 minutes for the first half, and then you get a break, and then you do it for the next half for another 30 minutes. So I guess it's not that bad for Steady cameramen, which is why I think they probably use it more. And I think it's just more worth it. As for mics, as for like audio, like how do they get the stadium mic? The stadium mic is a tricky mistress, because sometimes the stadium will be too loud for the mic to actually comfortably be placed there. Sometimes you'll probably deafen it if it gets too loud. But most of the time, I think they just let it roll. I think in college football, they have a sonar mic almost. Like it's like a mic, like it's a shotgun mic. It's basically a shotgun mic with like a big cone that only gets like a certain part of the play. So the shotgun mic is basically like a directional mic. It's an omnidirectional mic. It's a cardio pickup pattern. It can pick up stuff around it, like a sort of like a dynamic, but it's more sensitive than a dynamic. So it picks up audio really well. Like if I were to like try to mimic with this dynamic, it'd probably be like up here. This is kind of like what it would be like, but like better quality. It wouldn't be as like crappy. So, and this is peaking a lot. So yeah, it would be so much better than what you just heard, but it's kind of like that, where it's just like picking up one area. And with sonar mics, or like a sonar setup almost, that's what I like to call it. It's called a sonar because it looks like it. For me, I like to call it a sonar setup because it looks like a radio dish. It's basically like this huge like half circle sphere that's like blocking all the frequencies from the audience, and is only pointing at the play. It's only pointing at the field, so it picks up. Like the reason you hear a lot of like Blue 42 said is because of the sonar. It's also because of like the people, or like the players that get mic'd up, which I kind of like. I do like how some like television studios will like mic up the players. I think that's cool because like you just sometimes get to hear them swear or say like this dumbest stuff in the world. I think that's really funny. But yeah, I kind of do want to do something similar to that, either with esports or sports. Like, I think after doing working camera on like football productions, I kind of found interest in it. So I think that'll be fun to do at some point, if ever. But I do want to do like esports stuff, sort of like similar stuff like what Ludwig does, more like entertaining esports. Like the God Gamer Challenge or whatever it was called. That one. Or the chess boxing one. Or like, I'm sorry, I'm like getting stuffed up right now. Literally any production that Ludwig has done it's always captured my interest because it's so creative and it's so good how they do it. Because it goes all the way back to like the TOs that have to like set up the entire organization. Jesus Christ, look at how much dust it just captured. Holy shit. But yeah, it just goes back to like all the TOs and people that have to do that stuff. That's hard work. That's hard. I could never do that, because like TOs, they are basically the bread and butter of a production. They're the ones that set up the matches. They're the ones that basically get the group to do what they want to do. And that's like on the day of the production. They're like the directors of like the actual like event. And then they have directors that are the people that are in charge of running the production of the event, which is cool. So that's kind of just a bit of the ins and outs of it. If I wanted to talk about anything else, maybe I might do some. I'm trying to think right now because I feel like those are the only two cool things about my life right now. I did rap on. Again, this is just me touching back. I did rap on shooting, like a short script. Like it was like a 8-page script of like a movie. And that was an interesting thing to do because, like, the way we went about it was terrible. Like, if there's one project that I'm like, if there's one final that I'm like, yeah, I kind of earned that grade, it's this one. And it's not, I would argue, it's kind of not my fault because, again, I was running sound, so I was only in control of the sound. And, I got my sound relatively well because sound's not hard to fucking run. If there was one I wanted to do, it was probably shoot behind the camera, because I actually would have gotten like good shots, but someone else wanted to shoot behind the camera, and I wasn't gonna say no. I was gonna be like, yeah, if you want to. So I wasn't too mad about it. There was stuff that we definitely could have been fucking better. It definitely could have been improved. Definitely could have gotten like a lot better at it. But again, it's just like out of my control because I just had to do sound. And it was interesting working with some of the actors. There was one that was like super diligent about his work. Like he just wanted to get his stuff done. The other one was like a friend of the director. She's an interesting woman. Not someone I would meet like naturally, but it would mean she was cool. She's very, 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 very interesting. And I found the mix of the personalities to be almost new, like natural. I mean, it's someone I wouldn't have expected to meet, but it was cool. And I think we take a lot of stuff for granted. I think a lot of filmmakers take this kind of part of like their beginning for granted, because like it's kind of more just having fun on set than like actually doing the work when it comes to like the beginning of it. And a lot of people like we were like able to have a lot more fun than we did last project because we were on like a shorter time crunch for the last project. This project felt like we were able to take our time with it almost. Like shooting took 2 days. It wasn't that hard. And then the editor literally only had to take a week. So it wasn't really that hard to run. I think it was just crazy. It's just like having to deal with like the teacher kind of backseating. So it was kind of just hard in that sense. Yeah, and it's just very interesting. But it's a learning process, you can't just get up on a podcast like I'm doing right now and talk for a fucking hour. You think I'm going to talk for an hour? No, I'm saying it power hour because I'm probably going to go 56 minutes. Like reasonably, I'm going to go 56 minutes, and then that's about it. Because again, doing a power hour by myself is probably the least interesting thing about this entire thing. But I think this entire episode is just me breaking down some of the stuff that you will experience at the age of 19, or if you're, a little later in life, maybe 20, 21, you'll probably experience it. because the workforce will beat you up and like fucking ruin you if you let it. Because the first place I worked at was Big Lots. So I was underpaid as hell. I always say this about Big Lots. I will never work at a Big Lots again, and I would recommend anyone who even tries to like apply to that place don't. They will either undercut your pay by so fucking much and just make you work fast. That was the one problem I found with Big Lots is like they have a 30-minute rule on pallets, which I think a lot of bigger companies have, like the 30-minute pallet rule. And this is kind of like to help you guys, like on your first day. If you guys are having your first day of work, the one thing you should learn about is the pallet rule. So it's called the 30-minute pallet rule. And it's basically like you have to unload a pallet around like 5 feet tall, like that, like a pallet. So a pallet is like basically just the size of like a normal desk, is like 55 inches, 55 by like 35 inches, or like I think it's like either 55 by 55 or like 35 by 35. It's like it's somewhere between those inches, and basically it's just like it's like a square stacked like maybe 5, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 feet high if they don't care about the rules that much. You're only supposed to like stack them maybe I think 5 feet high. But it'll be that, and they'll basically be like, yeah, I need you to unload all these boxes and stock them in 30 minutes. If you don't know, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, unless you're doing toilet paper, which if you don't know, toilet paper boxes are really fucking big. You are not going to get that done in 30 minutes. If you're fast enough, maybe 45. If you're like a Speedy Gonzalez kind of person, you'll get it done in like 36. So you'll be like 6 minutes late. You'll never be on the 30-minute dot. Unless you're like on Adderall, you're not going to get it in 30 minutes. I tried. I failed. Like the fastest I ever did one was, it's going to sound dumb. It was like 28 minutes, but the only reason I got it done so fast is because someone ended up helping me like with like 4 or 5 boxes. And I just was like, I don't know. I was on one that day and I just got really lucky. But those guys were nice, a lot of them, I can't really argue with them. A lot of the coworkers were like, they didn't hate each other. It was like a bro-ish kind of vibe because it was like mostly men. Unlike my work now, it's female, and a lot of it is drama filled. It sounds sexist, but oh my God, is there a difference? Because I've worked with both. I've worked with predominantly men, and I've worked with predominantly women, and with men, it's more like, they're mostly just talking about weights and training and, basically how much they can put up on the bar. It's literally just not the same. Because, like, with women, it's like it's workplace drama almost. And some of them, some of the women that I work with right now, they're chill. They don't really care. They don't really indulge in that kind of shit. They kind of just they talk to me about, like, experience and stuff. And that's, like, a big majority. But there was like zero workplace drama at Big Lots. Like the only workplace drama was when we got called and got shut down, and that was not even like with a coworker. That was just like the entire branch for us, and it was not even like us. It was like branches in Lakewood, is branches in like other places in California, like near the Los Angeles County. So we couldn't really do anything. It was out of our control, and so yeah, we just lost. About a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people just ended up transferring to other places, like some in Orange County, some still in LA County were still open because they were bigger ones and they got more people. And again, a lot of Big Lots, they won't have a lot of customers, but they'll have loyal Fuck me. Again, I'm telling you, bro, I probably need to take an allergy pill after this, but like I was saying, a lot of Big Lots, they won't have a lot of like customers, but they'll have loyal customers. Because like our Big Lots lasted a year, if that. But some will last like maybe 5-6 years because I think they're more bigger towards like the south, like the Southwest, like Texas and stuff, like Arizona and type shit. But they're not big here. Like the bigger places in California for like shopping is Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, fucking Stater Brothers, unsurprisingly, grocery outlet is big here. it's crazy to think because like the way they brand it is so smart, because it's mostly just dependent on like whether or not the managers are good at their jobs. Because like people who hired me weren't the first ones there, because someone else left. So it was just like a whole chutzpah with that. And I guess any closing remark on that is just like have fun. It's so fun. Adulthood's a wild fucking ride. I'm not even done with it. I haven't even started, bro. I think I'm still in child. Like I think I'm still in like the teen years of my life. I'm just in like the really mature teen years of my life. Like that's it. I'm entering adulthood. Like I'm not actually in it. When I graduate, when I get a bachelor's, then I'll be in adulthood. That's like when the game starts. I'm still in the tutorial mode. I'm just in the harder version of the tutorial. Because a lot of people who are younger than me, they think like, oh yeah, we're adults. We're adulthood. We're like in adulthood. We can like do all this stuff. A lot of the shit that will get you like that's like considered cool, like vaping or like just drinking or anything in college, it'll come back to bite you in the ass. I talk about it with like a lot of people, like a lot of my friends that are older than me, because like most of my friends are either like older than me or like a year younger than me. But like the people that like are up there, they like the people that I talk to, which are like my friends from high school, who I still like, they're my age. I mean, you're not gonna like they're already aware that this is gonna fuck them up for the rest of their life. It's either you fucking just make the mistakes now and regret them later, or you just don't make them at all and then enjoy the actual mistakes later. Because then you'll have like the actual like capacity to endure it. Don't fuck up your body at such a young age. It's so stupid and it's just bad. If you're gonna smoke weed, at least have a reason to. If you're gonna do crack, don't tell me about it. If you're gonna drink, don't be an angry drunk or a racist drunk. Be a happy drunk. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, go straight edge, because no shot they're gonna go straight edge. That's the whole reason they started. But I'm saying if you're gonna do these things, at least be responsible about them and know the consequences going into them. Don't just smoke weed because you're stressed. That's stupid. People who smoke weed because they're stressed end up becoming loner losers and just hate themselves. Or they're like a bunch of my friends who are self-aware that they're going to be or feel like loner losers and hate themselves. They're self-aware of that, but they're not loner losers and they don't hate themselves as much because at least we're here to make fun of them for it and they're self-aware. So yeah, that's kind of just my 2 cents on the whole adulthood thing. So, I mean, we're coming up on the end here. So I'll do my little closer. Thank you guys for watching the Third Base Podcast. Again, we're going to probably have a bit of a rocky start here to this whole thing. Maybe we missed a month or missed a week with that whole thing, and that's fine. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, I'm here. I'm doing a power, not even a power hour. It's like a power 55 minutes. But it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed doing it. It's something that I think a lot of the podmates should probably do. If they can't get everyone on here, Monkey Man should try it at least and see if he likes it. Because the thing is, the difference between doing the podcast with the people and doing this is you're more hyper-focused on the time, and it feels like an hour every time you look at the fucking timer, and it says 40 minutes. Luckily, I was able to get it to 55 minutes right now, which will shorten it probably by like maybe 54 minutes or stay at 55. I don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to do this. But again, just enjoy life. Find stories, or if you're going to do a podcast, don't go out and do stupid shit because you have a podcast. Do stupid shit because you want to do stupid shit and know the consequences again. I've been Gary. Of course, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We always like and appreciate new subscribers. Go check out the Spotify, dude. Like, what are you doing here on YouTube? Go check out the Spotify, because I know most of you probably don't watch the actual video. You guys aren't cringe like that, right? Right? Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see you guys later. And as always, Keep yourself safe. I'll see you later. Peace.
Shining like I'm Mega Man. I smoke Mega Man. Don't come at the you. Send you back to where you came from.